Hey, John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I'm here in New York City, finally at the end of my European tour, stopping for a couple days in New York City before heading back to Tampa. And I'm actually at the World Trade Tower Memorial. You can see behind me one of the World Trade Center, one of the foundations building. It's actually a pretty interesting memorial that they have here. If you're watching the video, I'll go ahead and give you a quick look. And so you can see in that quick little clip I showed you one of the memorials for one of the buildings. It's the foundation of the building that's now a little interesting memorial. And then also the new World Trade Tower, the new building that stands taller than the original one. So interesting time. I still remember when 9/11 14 years ago. In fact, it's September 13th, so this is 14 years and 2 days ago. I still remember very clearly the day that it happened, and I remember just not being able to believe it. I was in Phoenix, Arizona at the time, working for a startup that was based in the financial industry, and that basically collapsed overnight. The entire financial industry was hit so bad, and that startup ended up going under. Strangely enough, I ended up going to New Jersey pretty shortly after, and I actually visited New York City a few times. But at that time, right after it happened, it was kind of almost scary going into New York City. You didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't really want to be there. So I didn't actually visit New York City very much when I was, just very close to it. But the thing I thought about today, thinking about this, tragedy that happened 14 years ago, is how rapidly the entire world can change. And this is something just to be aware of, just in your own life. You can, when you think about the way the world is, it's something that is not static. Overnight, entire assumptions we had about the United States and about being attacked on continental U.S. soil changed. People changed. People were afraid. I mean, airplanes, air travel changed forever because of that one event. And I think that just when you think about the way things are now, you can't predict the future, right? No one could have predicted that happening. In a good book is Fooled by Randomness and The Black Swan by an Anti-Fragile, Nicholas Taleb. And he calls it a black swan event. Like, no one can predict this event going to happen. And you kind of got to be prepared for this in your own life. So, a lot of times we take the conservative route and we try to play it safe. And we try to predict the bad things that could happen and to mitigate those risks. But that's not always possible. I mean, you can look at 9/11 after it happened and say, oh, well, we could have predicted this ahead of time. We could have secured planes better. Or we could have made sure that we had better security in the plane, to get onto a plane and to watch the skies better for this kind of thing. But if you didn't know this was going to happen and you couldn't know, then you couldn't have, it could be something different. It's totally different that happened. So you can't know these things ahead of time. And the same thing in your own life. You can try and play it safe as much as possible. And I'm all for not taking stupid, foolish risks. But you have to realize that it's the black swans, the things that you don't expect, that you could have never predicted, that are going to hit you the hardest. And so, the best advice I could give for this is to put yourself in a situation where you can't be hurt too badly by an unexpected event, rather than trying to prevent all kinds of dangers that could happen to you and try to be, a lot of people are very much on job security and they invest a lot of time in securing their job instead of financially securing themselves. I think if you focus more on being financially secure, you're going to have a lot more protection against the possible black swans in your life, the possible things that could really destroy and disrupt your life. Same thing with building up your skills. This is why I always tell developers to market themselves, to build a personal brand, and to learn how to basically build up a name in the industry and increase their skills, is because that's going to protect you against a whole wide range of possible things that could happen, right? I mean, losing your job could be you might think you're in a great job that with a great company. I'm sure a lot of people working for Lehman Brothers did until that, whole thing collapsed, right? I mean, even like take BlackBerry, right? An entire industry, entire company that's doing well could collapse instantly, pretty much overnight. So, basically you can learn from this. The 9/11s of your own life can happen, and you can't prepare for them. You can't prevent them. You can't put the blame afterwards. But what you can do is you can recover, and that's kind of one of the awesome things about the United States, about living here in the U.S., is that to wrap this up, you see now the new Trade Center. You see now these memorials, and you see the resolve that, yeah, Americans didn't expect this to happen, but we recovered and we rebuilt. We had the capacity to do that, and people don't live in fear. We fly airplanes. We don't let this one thing destroy everything. So, wrapping this up again, like I said, in your own life, don't try and anticipate the completely unexpected things. Instead, be more resilient. Be someone who is able to sometimes benefit from chaos. Be someone who is prepared for disasters because they can recover fast, because they have 6 months savings in the bank, so if they lose their job, they're okay, because they have skills, they have a brand, they have marketed themselves. Do things that are going to be future-proof, rather than trying to predict and prevent things that you can't control in the end. Anyway, that's it. That's all I've got to say for today. My arm is getting tired. I need like a selfie stick. Anyway, I'll probably do one more video in New York City when I go to the Statue of Liberty, which I'm going to be doing in a little bit here, and then I will talk to you next time from Tampa. Be recording some high-def videos, and that'll be the end of my trip. So subscribe if you like these videos, and or if you like the podcast, and talk to you next time.